We got DJ Rob Swift, X-Ecutioners in the building, talking the origins of hip hop. This is episode 100 of the Carrying the Culture show, and this was a special one. And so I wanted to just, we're going to go a couple more minutes. Instagram cuts me off. I wanted to just get into this last point, really, as far as it ties in. I mean, we were just talking about it. So it's what if you go to a show, if you go to, is there all of the culture, all aspects of the culture happening? And no, they're all, to me, operating like individual silos. And to take it a step further, in my opinion, I'm guilty as well, which is why our thing is carrying the culture, all four elements behind this. Almost everybody, when we think about hip hop, discuss hip hop, what do we think? What do we think about first? Rap music, like off the rip, like top 5s, top 10s. I'll do a show about graffiti, put it in the title, and people be like, "Yo, did you hear that new song that came out?" No, I didn't fucking hear it. We're listening doing this. So yeah, I wanted to jump into that a little bit.
Hip hop is the combination of 4 elements, and the person that is responsible. Well, first we should identify what the 4 elements are. Again, DJing, MCing, breaking, and graffiti are the 4 elements of hip hop. And the person that is responsible or credited for devising this theory, this concept of hip hop, is Africa Bambaataa, with help from cats like Fab Five Freddy. And in packaging this culture and giving it tenets like peace, love, unity, having fun, they were successfully putting what was happening during what I term hip hop's gestation period, while it was pregnant, right? 1973 through, let's say, 1979, 1980, developing. There were no terms for it. There were terms, but it wasn't hip hop. It was just random. It was disorder, creative disorder taking place, but taking place nonetheless. And Bam put it in a nice package and put a bow on it and was like, world, this is hip hop. And once it was presented that way, especially with the tenets, peace, love, unity, having fun, then the world was able to embrace it and not fear it or push it away. Because remember, we're talking the 1970s, New York City. Like, if you're watching this in Austin, Texas somewhere, or Miami, Florida, and you think you know what hip hop and what the inner city was like in the 1970s, because you watched a fucking movie like Star Wars, I'm sorry, like, you need to get a little more informed on what was going on, because minorities were feared. Minorities were feared. And I'm not saying that it was just, but that's what it was. Minorities were feared. And, we're not going to get into like systematic racism is and what it leads to and all that. We're not going to get into that in this conversation. But what I will say is, Bam, for all of the fucked up controversy surrounding his name, I'm not denying that, like, the controversy surrounding his name doesn't make you fucking feel fucked up. I'm not denying that. But when we're just looking at this objectively, like hip hop culture, not that other shit that we've been hearing about Bam, but just hip hop culture, that guy was a fucking genius when you think about what he managed to do, how he managed to like get everyone to unify, literally like a union, get everyone to unify and then package it, put a bow on that shit and sell it to America. That's exactly what they did. And the shit worked. And it lasted from about 1982, the commercial era of hip hop culture. I'm not talking about rap music. Yes, rap music went on to have a life. P.E., Ice Cube, NWA, A Tribe Called Quest, Main Source, Akinelli, who I DJ'd for, LONS, Leaders of the New School. I could go on and on and on. Rap music went on and had longevity, right? But hip hop culture lasted from about 1981 to about 1984, and then it died. So anyone, yo, and I'm not saying this like as an insult. Like I know, for example, your moniker, your forum is carry the culture. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get it, and I respect that, and I love that, right? But real talk, like anyone that says, yo, we gotta protect the culture or preserve the culture or carry the culture, in essence, what's being said is hip hop is mummified, and we gotta just kind of like take care of the mummy, like preserve it, make sure that it doesn't fall apart, like preserve it as long as we can. So when people comment on my threads and they say shit like, yo, hip hop culture is still alive, it's still alive, like people just gotta look in the right places. That's the cliche thing that people say, like, you're just not looking in the right places. No, bro. Hip hop culture lasted from 81 to like 84, and then it died. Breaking got played out. No, everyone stopped breaking because it was overexposed. Every movie, every TV commercial, like you saw it too much. It got exploited. Because it was this thing that Bam packaged to sell to the world. You know what I mean? So because it got exploited, it got played out, and everyone stopped breaking. Even DJing by the mid 90s got played out on some level. You know what I mean? You have rappers like I'm not talking about Vanilla Ice rappers. I'm talking about like golden era 90s rappers that people love and fucking have their tattoos of their faces on their arms and shit like that. Those rappers were replacing their DJs with instant replay machines. Yeah. They were telling DJs, why am I going to take you on the road when I can have my manager press play on an instant replay machine?
No, absolutely. And the thing is, you know, all the elements, like we said, are kind of in silos. And you're right, man. I came up with the name Carrying Culture. It was a quick name, but it was like, yeah, the shit's fucked up. It ain't existing no more. So that's why, yes, it's preserving it. Also, you know, trying to look at, and I do agree when people say, you know, you just gotta look at some pockets. Yeah, but that's not what we want to do as a whole. If you look at like this society, hip hop, the culture is not. It's not there. I mean, yes, there's underground movements all over the place. And there's people. The underground's always going to be there, and there's always going to be people pushing hard and doing.
Here's the thing. Number one, hip hop culture is dead. It died in 1984. That's number one. Number two, it's interesting. It's like that saying. We all say it like full circle. What comes around goes around. Life happens in cycles. Where we find ourselves today in 1992 is exactly where Kaz, Coke La Rock, Bambaataa, Herc, Flash, Theodore, Rocksteady, the graph writers like Lady Pink and Scene and all those guys, Fuzz from Queens. He used to have crazy burners running on the 7 train. That, for me, was my dude, Fuzz, because he was the Queens graph writer, and he would destroy the 7 line with crazy pieces. But what I'm trying to say is that where we find ourselves today in 2022 is exactly where they were in 73, literally 49 years ago, 50 years ago, 5 decades ago, which is, yes, the elements were there, but they existed separately. They weren't together. And yo, I'll use this as an analogy for people that like are watching this and they're like, I just don't agree with what this guy Rob Swift is saying. I love buffalo wings. I fucking ate some like a couple of days ago when I was in Columbus, Ohio at my hotel room. I fucking eat them shits like once a week, right? And the thing about what makes buffalo wings is the fact that you have these wings mixed together with buffalo sauce, which came from Buffalo, right? They invented that shit in Buffalo, New York. Some chef at some bar fucking whipped up the perfect sauce, and buffalo wings for me to this day are still addicting, right? Or addictive. But if you took the sauce off of the wing and you separated it and you put the sauce, the buffalo sauce, in one pan and then the wings on another pan, you don't have buffalo wings. What you have is sauce and wings, but they're not buffalo wings unless you put them together. You got to combine the two ingredients. And so when people say there's still hip hop around, yo, like, have you been listening to Rock Marciano? Or there's still hip hop around. Like, yo, speaking of Buffalo, yo, what about those Griselda dudes? They're making hip hop. And it's like, no, that's rap music. And I'm not dismissing it. I love rap music. I make rap music. I used to DJ for a rapper. I listen to rap music. When I come up with my routines, a lot of the genres that I work with, one of them, is rap. You know, Gangstar records and Tribe Called Quest records. I love it. But rap is not hip hop. Hip hop is the combination of 4 elements: breaking, graffiti, MCing, and DJing being the most important element, the element that drives the other 4. That's what hip hop is. And BAM intended to present it to the world like that, so that there was some sort of culture to it, because the world is not going to understand zigga zigga. They don't know that language. The world is not going to understand going off. What's going off? To them, going off was breaking, but they needed to come up with terms and language, because that's what a culture is. Culture is a group of people, a society, whether it's a subculture or whatever, having unanimous agreement on certain norms, values, like, you know, the norm, you know, dress, how you spoke,
right.
language. That's what a culture is. It's norms, values, tenets,
Language, fashion.
Right.
Like I always say, hip hop taught me how to pose for a picture. Hip hop taught me how to tie my sneakers. Like,
right, because you were following the norms and the values of what pioneers, legends like BAM instilled and put in place for your generation and my generation and the newer Gen Z generation that's into hip hop. So that's what hip hop is. Rhyming, making words rhyme over a premiere beat is rap music. And I'm not dismissing it. I'm not saying that rap music is whack or it's lesser than hip hop. It's a great genre of music, and I'm thankful for it, because I've built a career off it as well. But it's not hip hop culture. Hip hop culture died in 1984, and who knows? Being that we're back where the pioneers found themselves in the 70s in 2022, where b-boys have their own events, DJs have their own battles. You go to a rap concert, you don't see b-boys on the stage. You don't see a graph writer writing an ill piece in like as a backdrop.
It's a big deal when you see all of that in one place.
Oh, and then when you see it, people like you and me feel like little kids, because it's nostalgic. It's nostalgic. So what's happening right now is hip hop culture is more of a novelty. It's a novelty. It's not something that exists with the strength that it did between 81 and 84. But every now and then you'll go to an event where like some promoter is like, yo, let's do something where like it's like a throwback to those times. So then you show up and you're there and you feel like you're fucking 10 years old again, dude, and you don't want this shit to end because it reminds you of that time. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that it's alive. It's just a novelty situation. Hip hop is like a novelty genre that you do it almost like for kicks. Like, yo, remember those days? Let's do something like that to just show people what it was like. And then guess what? The next day it goes back to fucking what it is right now.
Yep. Right.
Trap.
It's like, oh, it's cute. You like graffiti still, you know? Like, no, I fucking live this shit. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah. And now it's trap. It's chicks talking about how wet their fucking pussies get, and it's dudes talking about how much coke they fucking transport from one state to another. That's what rap music and all that shit is now, and trap and all that. You know what I mean? And so a lot of it, honestly, I don't fuck with, because like I'm not a drug dealer and I never killed anybody. And I don't want to fucking be a drug dealer, and I don't want to take somebody's life. That to me isn't, that and creativity are like oil and water. You know what I mean? There's nothing creative about that. And I'm in this shit for the creativity, you know?
Yo. We got to run in a couple of minutes, but before we do, I want to ask you, though, I'm going to try to put a bow on this. Where do we go from here, man? I mean, one thing, I appreciate your candor. I feel like a lot of our values are in alignment, and it's just refreshing because I'm usually getting shit on when I say this stuff. And so, just where do we go? Like, just as far, because after the conversations are going to die down with whomever on IG or whatever, right? And where do we go from here?
Yo, man, me get close, man. Look, this is what I'm going to say. This is my way of putting a bow on this shit. To everyone listening and watching, there's a movement happening right under your nose that you may not be aware of. It's a Black nationalist movement, similar to what you see in the news of groups like the Proud Boys and MAGA Republicans, people that are on the extreme right. I'm talking about fringe groups that don't have a balanced mindset of society and how different ethnicities work together in this country to make America what it is. I'm talking about people that like are on some other shit. Much in the same way, there's a Black nationalistic or nationalist movement, and some of the names I'm gonna, present them to the people that are watching in case they want to do some research and be informed. One is called B1s. It stands for Black First. There's another movement called ADOS, African Descendants of Slavery, or is it? No, I think the acronym stands for ADOS. I think it might actually stand for American Descendants of Slavery. I think that's what it is. And then you have, there's a third one. Foundational Black Americans, FBA. These three movements, and there are probably other Black nationalist movements that I don't know of, but these movements, the reason you and I are on this live talking is because that mindset is what set off that video of Kaz sticking his foot in his mouth, to quote him, saying Latinos didn't take part in hip-hop culture. Kaz was wrong for saying that, but he also put out a video and corrected himself. Right. And I respect Kaz for doing that. Latinos, let's get this out there, were a part of the structuring.
The beginning of that shit, period.
Okay? And to Lord Jamal, it doesn't matter what percentage, bro. It doesn't matter if it was 15% Latino or 50% Latino, as according to Fat Joe, who is also to me talking gibberish and nonsense. Bro, if you're not over 60, shut the fuck up. Like, you weren't there. You were in kindergarten when these dudes were jamming. So who are you to say, yo, it was this percentage? Like, Lord Jamal's like, yo, it wasn't 50%. It was more.
It wasn't 50%.
You weren't there. You weren't
arbitrary, fat fucking. A lot of people pull out arbitrary.
Right. Kindergarten, man. Like, you weren't there. You weren't a census taker with a notebook and a pencil, going to every party, asking people, what ethnicity are you? Are you Panamanian, Puerto Rican? Okay, and taking tally of what Spanish, Latino people were there. Like, come on, bro. So there's this Black nationalist movement taking place, and what they're doing is they want to claim hip hop for themselves. They're saying that Black people, I'm talking not me, or you, not you, 100% pure Black people and I say that facetiously, created hip hop, and they're the ones that own this, and every other race of people that are involved in hip hop right now are guests in the house of hip hop. That's what they believe. They want reparations. They literally want money off people that are monetizing the culture now. They want money, similar to like the whole 40 acres and a mule theory. That's basically their plight. And so you and I are on this live talking because of them. They posted a video of Grandmaster Caz misspeaking, and the shit went viral, and people took offense, like myself. And that's why you and I are talking about this, and not, yo, man, when was your first battle, Rob? And yo, when did you first listen to Public Enemy? And damn, yo, how do you feel about DJing? We didn't even get to talk about any of that cool shit, because there are these black nationalists trying. They feel as if hip hop culture is literally their birthright, and they deserve money. And so, to answer your question, where do we go, bro? I can't answer that. I don't have an answer for that. What I will say is I'm gonna stay true to what I do as a DJ. I have a school called Brolic Army DJ School, where I not only teach people the mechanics and skill sets and techniques involved in DJing, but I talk about the history of hip hop. Every tutorial, the first 10 minutes or so, the student doesn't even get to touch the turntables. They gotta sit there and listen to me go on and on about our pioneers: Herc, Flash, Bambaataa, Grand Wizard Theodore, Tony Tone, Charlie Chase, who's Latino, Puerto Rican, Ruby D, who's Latino, Puerto Rican, Tito from the Fearless Four, who's Latino, Puerto Rican, Whipper Whip from the Fantastic Five Freaks, who's Latino, Puerto Rican, and understand that aspect of why they're so important. And if it wasn't for them, I would not have a school. You and I would not be having this conversation right now. And the people commenting, watching, joining they'd be doing some other shit right now with their time on a Sunday afternoon. Those pioneers, those legends are the reason that why we're here, not some fucking black nationalists who may not even listen to hip hop or even heard an album by Pharoah Monch claiming that all of a sudden he's owed money from hip hop, which makes no sense to me. What have you contributed to hip hop? How about that? You don't feel that Latinos contributed anything in the 70s, and so you have this birthright to the money that's being generated off hip hop right now? What have you contributed to the culture right now, other than a fucking tweet or ambushing a pioneer like Grandmaster Caz, and then posting a video of him saying some foul shit, and then forcing him to have to make another video retracting his statement? What have you contributed, Lord Jamal? You know what I'm saying? Like, you was in a group, man, and you was the weakest one out of the three MCs. Like, I don't even allow myself to get to his verses. I only fuck with Sadat X and Grand Poobah. When it gets to his verse, I shut that shit off. Or if I'm at the club, that verse gets nixed. I'm into the next song. Like, what have you contributed? That dude's a YouTube podcaster now. Like, he's not even rhyming. So it's like, why is he in this conversation? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro, like, they got the wrong dude. They got the wrong dude, man. Like, don't get me confused with these new dudes that blog about rap music and hip hop. I'm not one of those cats, man, for real.
No, and I can tell, man, and that's why I really appreciate you, man. I've been, you know, I mean, originally when I hit you up, I just wanted to talk the DJ stuff, you know what I mean, or whatever. But then I, you know, follow your page and I saw this going on, and I was like, damn, he's dealing with the same shit. And so I guess for me, man, you did answer without answering. It's to keep going and keep talking and not being afraid to speak out against people who are, you know, or whoever. It's like, say what we got to say.
Keep going, and if you b-boy, b-boy. If you rhyme, rhyme. If you DJ, DJ. If you write graph, write graph. Just be creative, tap into your God-given talent or gift, and have fun. And what's meant to happen will happen. So if it's meant for the culture to come back again and with it for another 3 or 4 years, or maybe the generation after us figures some shit out and they come up with their own offshoot or branch of what we remember to be hip hop, and then they get to like have fun and enjoy their little, you know, renaissance, so to speak, then it's gonna happen, and there ain't shit that none of us could do to stop that. What's meant to happen is gonna happen regardless. You know what I mean? So just keep doing what you do, man. That's where we go from here.
Yeah, we keep pushing, man. And you know, I think it's important, though. I mean, I just appreciate you for speaking out and speaking up, because some of the stuff you're saying isn't popular, and I agree with it. So I know I get dumped on for saying stuff, and so I just appreciate you sharing what it is, man. And if people don't like it, they don't have to, you know, whatever. So that courage, that strength right there is I just appreciate that, man. So I want to thank you, man. Episode 100, Carrying the Culture Show, Rob Swift, X-Ecutioners. We got to do it again, though. I want to talk to college game day shit. I want to talk a bunch of stuff, man. So, Brolic Army, yo, I'm an old dude, but I might take a DJ class or something, because that's the one element I didn't really fuck with as far as so they have the paper. But thank you, man. I really, really appreciated this, like, for real. So,
Man, it's important, man. So I'm glad we got to address a lot of stuff that is happening that people aren't aware of, because they're just seeing it for what it is on the surface and don't understand that underneath it, there's other shit happening. So
way other shit. And I'm glad you went, you know, we peeled away the onion and dug into it, man. So this was, and I was always saying, it's bigger than the music, man. It's bigger than rap and shit. Like this was a real conversation about some real shit. So we're gonna get this up on the YouTube. We're gonna get some clips of this up on IG. I'll tag you and everything, get you the link and stuff. But again, Rob Swift, X-Ecutioners, rest in peace, DJ Rock Raider. All day. So thank you, and hopefully we can do it again, man. Yes, sir. I saw him live at a rave with Bismarck E, fucking feasting on that shit. So there he is. Yes, sir. Rock Raider, Grandmaster. So thanks again, Rob. I appreciate you, man. Like I said, I'll tag you and stuff. Get this up, and hopefully we can build at some point in the future. But keep doing your thing, man. I appreciate it.
all right, man.
All right. Salute y'all, everybody. Thanks for everybody joining in.